friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Idea Angel. I offer strategic advice on software and product development on my channel, and this is open for questions from my friends in the community. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or on YouTube, and you can post questions to me on topics related to e-commerce, software development, product development, and I shall be very happy to answer your questions in one of my videos. If you like my videos, you know what to do. You have to click on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel and maybe post some comments on how I can make my subsequent videos better and more informative for you. Okay, so the next question is from Krishan Sangi, and he asks that Akhil, I want you to share the importance of integrating the workflow with the e-commerce. I see many platforms offering e-commerce, yet that leaves a lot to be handled manually or in other software. How should one handle the same? Okay, so this is a very good question, and I'm really glad that you asked this question. So workflows are very important aspect of an e-commerce business. So I'll first give you an example of what a workflow could be. For example, customer places an order online, and now the order has come, and now this order sits in your website. It is a database in your website which is holding this customer's order, and what customer sees is that it is currently in processing. Now, once this order comes into your website or mobile app, eventually that also means a website at the back, then from that point onwards, there is a series of events that need to happen inside your enterprise, inside your business, so that this order can actually move from a processing state to a delivered state. So that means somebody needs to look at this queue of orders and then take one order at a time, go to the warehouse, pick the product from one of the aisles in the warehouse, do the quality inspection, and then pack it, put a shipping label on top of it, and then measure the weight and all bit during the process of putting a shipping label, and then also update the system back saying that, look, now your product has been picked, packed, and dispatched, and here's the tracking number. And then it doesn't end there. Then the workflow should also be able to monitor the progress of the packet when it is in transit, all the way to the step when it actually gets delivered to a customer. And then the problem could be further complicated if let's say the payment is being taken at the time of delivery. So think about cash on delivery. So then there's another workflow after this workflow which basically tracks the payment collection from the shipping partner. So there is a series of events which you need to manage, and the traditional way of doing this in e-commerce industry is to deploy some sort of a workflow engine. Most of the e-commerce commercially off-the-shelf products in the market have some sort of a workflow capability built into them, and they work quite well for most of the e-commerce businesses. But the ones who are really evolved, they have actually gone ahead and deployed their own workflow engines, because the way their operations work, for example, there are companies who have multiple warehouses, and then there is a condition-based routing of the orders. There are companies where, for example, look at Walmart. You place an order of multiple type of groceries, and then those orders get routed to different fulfillment centers, and then they will individually pick, pack, and dispatch parts of your order. So the workflows have the tendency of getting very complicated at the back, and therefore a sophisticated workflow management system is generally deployed, and then you need to have tools to monitor the health of those workflow engines. So this is what legacy is. What we are doing these days is basically trying to get away with this traditional implementation of a sequential workflow and replace it with something which is more event driven and more reactive in nature. So what we are trying to build these days, in fact this is already not in place in most of the organizations who are very fast in adopting new technologies, is to build a reactive framework where everything is based on events, and the systems do not actually wait for one thing to happen before they can do another thing. So in this situation, what happens is that if we were to take the same example, when the order is created by the customer and the payment is done, it basically triggers an event, and that event basically triggers a chain of small workflows or maybe individual tasks in the system, and those tasks get done independent of each other. And if there is a need of some sequencing of some events over there, you basically deploy a small time workflow. For example, if there is an order that comes, and once the event is generated, let's say there is an event to just capture payment. So basically, when you get the authorization from the credit card, you basically take the payment and make sure that the money flows into your bank account next day morning. So that event basically triggers the event of payment capture, and the payment capture event can then further trigger an event which is listened by a sort of a listener or an observer in the warehouse system, and then it triggers the process of picking, packing, and dispatching the product. And as those events are getting fired in the warehouse, they basically trigger incremental events which basically send out push notifications to the customer saying that your product has been picked, now it's been dispatched, and or maybe smaller steps. So the point is that instead of writing a huge queue of large workflows and then managing it with a large workflow systems, most of which used to be like enterprise services bus in the past, or some commercial workflow engines. The thing is now getting into smaller chunks of independently running processes, and then basically communicating between them through events. And this entire concept of microservices, and how events get shared between those microservices, and how you basically orchestrate a series of events between microservices, is also another example of how workflows are getting implemented in a modern enterprise. So the summary is that workflows is a thing of the past, and people are really working on new design patterns where they can get rid of at least long running workflows and maybe come up with some small, nimbler workflows. Hi friends, I hope you liked my video, and I'm sure that if you have watched my video till this point, you may already have some comments, suggestions, or ideas for me to make my videos better in future. So I will really appreciate if you can send your comments, put them below on my YouTube video, and give me ideas, give me suggestions on how I can make this more helpful for people like yourself or anybody else in your network. And I will definitely work on all your comments and suggestions. And of course, questions are more than welcome. So if you have more questions on this topic or any other topic, please do send your questions. And if I am able to answer myself, I will try to answer. Otherwise, I will try to rope in someone else from my network who can answer these questions for you. And hopefully, we will try to address some of the concerns or questions or queries that you have in your mind. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please click on the bell icon and subscribe, so that whenever I post a new video, you get an alert, and then you can watch my latest video. And thank you very much for staying with me so far, and I wish you all the best, and stay in touch. Thank you.